That's such a gross, seedy lifestyle. Why professional wrestling is the perfect form of entertainment.
Yes, we talk about comics. Yes, we talk about actors.
I just like travel hubs. I like airports, bus stations, shit like that. I just like them.
That's the most basic level of things. You constantly have the option to get licked.
Marley guy doing what he loves to. He will tell you I'm a bad driver, but there's no evidence for that.
I have intuition, and I'm deep in this.
Gets me every time.
People fall for absolute monsters on a regular basis.
All right.
Dude, that Scott saying people tell you I'm a bad driver, but there's no evidence.
There's no evidence for that.
I don't even is or isn't, but I literally laugh every time I hear him say it.
There's plenty. The shocked reaction.
Well, I'll have to keep that in mind for the
passenger
future.
Seat car.
You provide one driving citation. You provide evidence of one serious
I can
accident.
doctor all of these things. That is absolutely of it.
Well, Tyler, I'll have to keep Scott's driving record in my mind for possibly something in the future.
That's fine, man. I'll sleep in the back the whole time. Actually, you know what? I am a terrible driver. I can't be behind the wheel.
God damn you! That's my own fault. All right, I should do our little intro here. You guys are my lord, it's 2021. You humans, you people are listening to the Two Hippies and One Drunk podcast, weekly podcast. It's a show with three longtime comic buddies. Unlike most, we rotate the hosting roles each week. This allows us to show off our individual personalities by picking the topic for our week's episode. There's just one person always running the show. Oh, you know what? I'm reading a stupid Facebook post I made this week. What an asshole.
Well, this is off to a good start.
Yeah, really, it is.
You really got a lot of things in your corner.
Nowhere to go but up from here.
God damn it! Where is the freaking thing in my notes here? Where is it? I'm sorry.
You're pretty much done.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm pretty much. The deal is, if you're listening, thank you very much.
Tyler and Scott.
Oh yeah, and I'm the host of this.
I don't even know why you need to read that off there. This is the 11th episode.
I know. I have a terrible man. I'm one of those people though,
4.
If you say an address, someone gives me a 4-digit. When someone sends you a verification code, we're gonna send you a text. Dude, I have to look at it 8 times. I can't just look at it.
I was just copy and paste
and remember it. Well, I found out you can do that on your phone, but I didn't know that. Anyway, I'm the host this week, I guess, Eric Fady, and as always, my two friends, Scott Tyler.
Scott Tyler.
We're connected like cat dog. Just
We're
just ass to ass stitched together.
What is the movie with those two guys that are stuck together? That are twins, but they're not.
Oh, Jesus.
It's
God.
Stuck together or something like that.
Stuck with you?
Stuck with you is not it. It's stuck something.
What a dumb movie, but I watched it. I remember watching it.
I remember watching it and being disappointed.
I can't remember what it's called, but
anyway, do you want to explain to the people why you're dressed like such a jackass this week?
Sure.
Yeah,
if you're watching,
myself.
How dare you? If you're watching on Facebook Live, I'm wearing. So people that have known me for a long time in my life, in general, know that I'm what's called a theme dresser, which is I dress.
That is not. You made that up. You are just the only person that is theme dressing.
I don't know if it was never heard, but someone coined it. Someone said that I did it way back in the day, and it.
You are
back in the Regis Philbin era.
Yeah, I was gonna say Regis Philbin was definitely a theme.
Although I did back then. Here's an example.
Specific.
Well, here'd be an example. When I talked about working at Red Robin, for example, I loved Red Robin because it was one of the few jobs I had in my life. It was a shitty job, a retail job, where they allowed us to wear hats and we could wear whatever we want. And to me, it was that was actually badass because I was if the Pistons are playing,
opening the Eric Fady door for
if the Pistons are playing, I can wear a Piston hat.
Did you ever wear a cowboy hat?
I would have. No, you couldn't wear those, unfortunately. But
really trying to push the boundaries.
that I guess was a little too much.
No, you got to understand, this is 100 X's.
Did you ever wear a full suit? Like 3-piece suit?
No. Oh no. You know, I mean, you can only wear a hat. We're not talking about Red Robin.
I was more okay.
I was more just like saying in my awesome world is like I could, if the Red Wings were on, I could wear my wings hat. Like I would be able to wear my like hats based on the sports teams that were playing at the time, and I always like that because I'm a sports nut. So, which brings us into the obvious episode here, and why I'm wearing all this stuff. I'm wearing all my sports stuff because I am a very, very big sports fan. I posted it actually on our Facebook page. So for people, if you listen to this and you want to see this one video that we're about to talk about, we'll probably start with. I posted it to our Facebook page. And so last week when I mentioned that I was going to do this sports topic, the reason I kind of said like, that it was going to be my mood today, was very precarious. It was going to go good or really bad was Michigan basketball is making a run in the college playoffs, which I'm watching 20-year-old fucking kids play basketball and yelling at them.
Imagine having your mood be affected by whether or not some 20-year-old kid shoots a basket in a hole.
I couldn't imagine in a million years. I don't even pay attention to that. Unless that's my child.
You're looking at it. You're looking at it from such a what I want to say is stupid perspective, but such a small. No. You're looking at it from you're looking at it from a very small-minded perspective because really, what's happening? So I should say, if I haven't said it yet officially, I should say that basically what I'm trying to do is convince Scott and Tyler why sports are more. And actually, by the way, why sports are worth the hype. What I should say, by the way, even before I get into that, I wouldn't even try to convince you guys like a me or like a person who is like watching every game. I think that I would suggest in the end is that I think that you wouldn't be shocked if you allowed yourself to open your mind up to just mildly get involved in some of these things, how fun it would be. But so what was I getting at? Okay, so when I talk about these players, you say that, imagine letting a mood be changed by some 20-year-old kid making a free throw, a three-pointer or not. It's not about that, though. It's about like...
Kind of is.
But it's a greater scale. Like it's about this I can never say this word.
Camaraderie.
I can't say that word. It's about that, though. It's about this coming together of a bunch of people that you don't know, pulling for this thing. And it's not really like in real life situations. I 100% am not mad at some 20-year-old kid for missing a free throw, despite what it looks like on the video last night that I posted. And I'm gonna let you. And I've already talked a lot. I feel like
I was on your dad's side when he said "calm down."
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, you calm down. It's not that big of a deal."
What was your actual? Like seriously, so fit up. I took a video of myself last night, in the closing seconds of this basketball game, and basically I just needed them to make a shot. I'm not going to get into some nerdy description, but I needed this team to throw a ball in the fucking basket, and I set this camera up because honestly, despite how poorly they had played that night, I thought they were going to make this happen. I really still thought it was only one shot, and I was hoping for you to still make fun of me, but I was hoping for the video of you making fun of me to be me jumping up and down crying and not for me to be doing what I did. And so what it became is a 37-year-old man having a hissy fit over a college kid.
Yeah, that's what I learned. Yeah, my favorite part is when he immediately left when you started freaking out. Like gets up and like, I don't want to deal with my son. I don't want to deal with this.
I know, right?
His crazy ass fucking interest in this shit. But like,
what was your do you and your dad bond on?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. My dad, like, almost like we mentioned this about the Simpsons one time. My dad is, in a weird way, has introduced me to all the things that I became passionate about. But my dad is not the nut job that I am. I take everything to a much more extreme level.
I was gonna ask, does he? Have you ever seen your dad freak out over a sports team?
I mean, yes, but wait, yes, but in the sense of like if we were at a game. And I mean, we've been lucky enough. I've been lucky enough to be.
That's like mob mentality.
Yeah, but I've been lucky enough to be with my dad at some big sporting events. And so, yes, if like a big shot was made, I mean, yes, we have like high-fived and jumped up and down or something. But he not like to me. I'll be in my room pacing and throwing shit. Not at all like that. Like he's not
like a child throwing a tantrum is what I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's fair. I'm not going to say that's not fair.
That is what your aspect that video. That's what I thought. I'm like, that looks. I don't know how this is supposed to convince me that like I.
That video wasn't for that,
but it's like passion and like love for the thing. It just doesn't. Completely negates that, and I just think about a kid throwing a tantrum.
But you have to think
you
about
were doing
like
that thing when somebody gets way too worked up, where your voice starts like cracking.
Yep.
You're not even doing that manly, like, man, fuck this shit, God. It's
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
oh no.
Yeah, that's
Like
not me, unfortunately.
true
That's not me, unfortunately.
You're not the guy in the back like, oh fuck.
So let me ask you if you have any more thoughts first on the video in general of me flipping out, or is that kind of what your thoughts were?
I would say like I tried to think of comparisons, and I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit in that first video too. But I tried to think of comparisons in my own life where I will be like that, and like the closest thing I could think of is like Tyler and I were playing like the game Cuphead a while ago. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's like notorious. It's notoriously hard. You will get stuck on a fucking level for like hours.
Like we played for like 5 hours.
And man, when you beat it, when you actually have that one time where you get through it and you get to the next level,
there's
like,
a sense of
really
euphoria.
Excited.
Dance around the apartment, freak out,
or get super pissed like you were because you failed and you were close and you were really close.
Yeah.
So that's like the closest comparison I can
But that's still something you're doing. That's why that's my biggest thing about the sports stuff is like it's hard for me to get on board with that because I'm not doing the thing. I'm just watching.
But here's the thing. Imagine like you guys are both. You know, the funny thing is, I think that it'd be a common it'd be a very normal feeling that hippies would not be into sports for the most part. I'm not saying that it's obviously fully true. But the odd thing about that to me, if you think about it, is that hippies tend to be very much like a love and let's all be together thing. And the funny thing of you're not doing it, when you become such a level of a fan, you do feel like you're a part of something. And so like, for example, when a team goes on with like a run, like this year, for example, Michigan, more so, especially with professional sports, because usually their playoffs last longer than the tournament here does. But like when the Red Wings would go, say, like from mid-April to June, the more they keep winning, like you'll go around town, and it's like I'd like you guys to think about this, like in your mind, you guys we've all gone to kind of hippie music festivals. You guys have done some even more stuff than me because you guys will do the psychedelic drugs and like bond with each other in the woods and shit. Or whatever. Yeah. But like
very accurate.
Like, I wish we did that like sports. My problem with what you're saying, Eric, is that like oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So my thing would be, if you think about it, if you were to ask yourself, do you have anything in your life that brings you close to a large group of people that, by the way, full on will not have. It doesn't matter if someone is a different religion, race, age, by the way, anywhere from 10 to dead, any stature of life, money, rich, poor, that you could walk into a gas station and just and really you believe that someone you would never be in a normal circumstance be like, oh shit, you ready for the fucking Wings tonight? Fuck yeah, game 4, baby. Do you have something like that in your life?
That I could just bring up to, like,
you might go to say Electric Forest, and yes, you all are bonding over kind of that kind of music, but mostly those people tend to always, like, if I go to a country concert versus some of the stuff, yes, there's like different people that randomly are there, but usually when you go to a lot of these events, in my opinion, they're very much the same type of people. You don't tend to go to see 80-year-old and 10-year-olds at an electric music festival.
You were saying you have these cultural signifiers. You'll run into somebody else just throughout the day.
Like you're at the gas station and they got a Red Wings hat on. It's a big playout, and you're just like, dude, tonight, man, big game. And you don't know this person.
You could do that with other things that I'm interested in. If I saw like somebody with a Hayao Miyazaki shirt on, I'd mention it. I'd bring that. I'd be like, oh shit, like we're both at that level of like
fandom.
Pop culture would probably be the closest comparison.
But That's fair, and I would say that is not a bad comparison. My thing with sports would be why it's such a greater level is, again, it is literally, you can go to, like, again, you probably, Scott, you could go to one of your underground rap shows, and yes, there'll be people in the underground where it's like, oh, we all know about this underground guy, but you're not going to probably see, like I said, like a family there, and then also be a grandpa there, and then also like, different.
You're saying it crosses those, like,
it crosses so many.
I'd still say like Disney does that. I still say like other big corporations kind of like things that are in the media that like people dig.
Okay,
like that's it across the spectrum. Talk about Marvel.
Let me take that. Okay, go. No, let Scott go because I don't want to do all the talking.
I was just gonna say that, like, I feel like the thing with that is, though, that like if I run into somebody who likes some like underground rapper that I like or something like that's like a rare special thing where it's like, oh shit, I don't ever see somebody else.
We are like-minded.
That kind of thing. Where it's like, oh, cool. Wow, you're in Detroit and you're wearing a Pistons hat? I can't believe I ran into another guy in Detroit wearing a Pistons hat.
That's true.
Like,
and you don't know, like, that person could be a complete opposite from you. Like somebody who you meet up and meet somebody who you actually have a real connection on something that you really care about. You most likely are going to have like some common ground. Just liking a sports team doesn't mean that person's going to be cool or decent. It
doesn't. Nothing ever. I don't think anything ever. Dude, I love country music.
Yeah, that's fair.
I love country music, for example, and we have this festival in Michigan every year called Faster Horses, and it tends to be just like I literally go. It's one of the only festivals that I've gone to where like I am there for the music. The people that are there tend to be fucking Rebel Flag, Hicks, America, and it's like I'll literally sit there despising almost the people and like the music. So you guys are not wrong, by the way. You're not wrong in what you're saying. When Scott or when Tyler said like Disney, for example, and it's gonna be tough because you guys don't have this feeling. So we'll ever be able to fully explain it to you if you haven't experienced it, and that's okay. But like with sports, my kind of cross to the, like, say a Disney thing or like like you said, a superhero people that they go crazy, man. They wait in lines for the movies. And
to be fair, I judge that too. I hate that just as much.
I judge it.
No, but he's saying that's an example of it somewhere other than sports. And my kind of cross to that would be when you get into sports, even a movie, it's hard. The movie's not real. And yes, it's scripted, but you don't know necessarily where it's going to go. Sports it's just perfect when it's done right. It is completely unscripted. There is no knowing who's going to win. And so like in certain situations, sports is almost like a lot of things in life where it's like love. I was thinking about this earlier this week. It's like love, like most people go in and out of love several times in their life. It hurts most and not like unless you get to the end and you actually find someone that you stick with forever. It's more, but you don't stop trying to find a girlfriend usually or a boyfriend or anything. And sports, it's like that. Sports hurts you probably 80 to 85% of the time. But
you're arguing for sports, right?
Yeah. But the time, but you know what though? If you find someone who's gone through 5 or 6 girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever relationships, and then they find that true love,
like gambling,
it's worth it. And when it's hard. Go ahead. Oh shit.
I would just say like.
Sorry, it froze there.
It's okay.
No. Okay, one thing I was thinking about with this is it's like. You know what? Actually, I feel like maybe instead of me saying that, if anybody else has got something to say, I'll bring it up when we get to the videos because this is going to come up. I wanted to say.
Okay. And we can get those pretty soon here since I did have you watch these videos. So I don't want to watch them. Have you watched those things, especially because you don't care about them. I don't want to have to make you watch those and let's not talk about them.
Again, your dad video.
Let me bring up one more.
Big time dad video.
Yeah, you're making some dad. You sent us dad videos. Like the daddiest dad videos.
All I can do, my biggest tool, and it doesn't mean it's gonna work, but my biggest tool to sell you on why sports is more worth, and I know, but I'm saying my biggest tool though is it is not, you have to get out of your mind like everything, there's outliers and extremists. You have to get out of your mind like this uber fucking macho asshole douchebag or some person who's going to literally fight someone over. You have to get that out of your mind and think about, because if you're not going to watch, none of you are ever going to become season ticket holders to a team or something. But if you just maybe were in a town, like you happen to be living in Colorado now, like if you were in a town and you just let yourself into like, oh damn, the Avalanche I hear our hockey team that's in this area is starting to do good this year. And if you let yourself like into that a little bit, even if you didn't care fully like everybody else, I think you'd be surprised how fun it would be to start walking around and then, oh shit, you catch that game last night.
I was going to say, I even agree with that to a certain extent. I was in a fantasy football league with some friends before. Yeah. And like, I didn't pay attention to it very much, but like, I liked that it gave me a reason to care about the games. And when I watched them, I definitely was way more invested than even like the Super Bowl or like anything like that, because it was like, I hope that I win. I mean, money was involved, and I feel like
gambling always helps.
Yeah, honestly. But I still feel like it's not, it doesn't, I don't know, it's not a real thing. It all feels like this distraction.
Okay, I thought you might go there. Let Scott say something, but I thought you might go there.
No, I was just gonna say too, like a comparison point that would actually be sort of similar is like I had some friends that were into UFC when I was in my like, young
UFC.
And UFC, I enjoy, man. Give me two fucking meatheads just beating the shit out of each other, and you're winning for one dude. Yeah, like
I'm on board.
I've never been into that, actually, believe it or not. But
that's surprising. Like
I don't like
fun. I feel like that sport's distilled to its rawest form.
Right.
Let's
go
cut out
the Coliseum and just watch these people rip each other apart.
And see, I think that's and I think that's again. And after this, we're going to get into these videos because I think it tails into them nicely. But that's again where I think people realize, like for me, example, as a mega sports fan, I don't ever do a good job at even learning my players' names. Like the Michigan team yesterday, I know, I think a few names. I don't always remember names. I'm not someone who cares about her injuries. I don't care about the guy pounding his chest. I just am all about this emotion that I feel from it. And I will say some of this we told you on an earlier episode. On my end, some of it might be, by the way, that I didn't grow up naturally. I was very awkward. So I didn't grow up naturally making friends. I didn't have a lot of people, like groups in my life. I didn't have kind of tribes like, I've gone through a few little periods of one or twosies, but I never had like big groups.
That's how they get you. So it's just like recruiters.
Well, no, but on my end, I do. Yeah, but sports is not okay. I get what you're saying. And when you were going to say, shit, Scott said something that I was fucking gonna say, and then I had Tyler Scott speak, and I forgot what he said.
I said that it was more or less a distraction.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I think that I thought you would go that way. I thought you might go that way, especially if you wanted to get into what these athletes get paid if you get into professional levels and whatnot. And the reality is the athletes get paid a sliver of what these.
100%. We are on board.
And the owners are garbage for the most part. I actually believe that. I really believe most owners of teams are garbage human beings.
Those people are ruining their bodies. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, but they want to. And they
percentage.
Yeah.
They want to. And anyway, but if you get into like the distraction aspect, if you could argue that some rich people out there are using this as a distraction for people, I just think that unfortunately this is where sometimes I think we always get life isn't perfect. You can't put life in some vacuum of what you think would be imperfect. It's just never going to be perfect. And I think go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I think that my thing with that is it's like, no, like even when you talk about like this tribalistic aspect and stuff and everything that like does make you feel good, like you are part of a tribe and all of that, that's also tied into like every single sports event has nationalistic war propaganda all over it.
Yeah. That's
because
true.
It's tapping into that exact same vein. And
I don't disagree with that. I just think that it would happen no matter what. And I think that in reality, Life is what it is. And it's not, and everybody isn't fully like that. That's the other thing. You got to understand, like, it's not a traditional cult, if you want to call it a cult. It's not a traditional one where everybody is either full in.
I also think people are kind of like living vicariously through.
Well, no. What I was going to say, though, is like there are people like that aren't me, for example, who they don't even watch. Last night might have been their first Michigan game because they finally heard, oh, Michigan's in the Elite Eight. I guess I'll check this out.
Check it out, yeah.
Not every sports fan is fully. It's not like it is a cult, probably in a way, I suppose, but it's not a cult that is like demands 100%. You know what I mean? Like, like people regularly go in and out. Like I've stopped watching Lions games because they've hurt me too much over years and years and years.
Totally. and to be clear, I mean, like with all of that stuff, I don't like sports, and we're gonna get into these videos and.
We got
strong opinions about these videos.
I've never had like
hate would be a fair word.
Honestly,
wow.
like I've never been so irritated.
That's crazy, man. I can't even understand that.
But
I can't understand that. Don't you like humans and emotions? I mean,
but just to
that's
preface
not what
that,
it's representing.
But,
oh yeah.
And just to preface that I do think like. You know, people sit there. I don't like people bitching about sports. I'm actually very apathetic about sports when I'm not presented.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine. I get it.
Because that's my thing. People will sit there and go, "Oh, like it's fake. It doesn't fucking matter to your life." Yeah, dude. I'll play video games. I'll watch a TV show.
Well, everything's relative, by the way. You know what I mean? Everything is relative to you. Like I don't give a fuck about a lot of things. Doesn't mean I think they're fake. You know what I mean?
Totally. People will be like, "Oh, there's problematic aspects to it." Like, yeah, you don't listen to fucking bands or watch movies with
and by the way, Scott, and I'm not trying to say this to make but you make a good point that and I know you're not trying to defend sports at all, but you make a good point. And yes, some people say, but people don't in general just say music is garbage because there's and music is filled with
because it doesn't have the same inherent crap that sports.
And sports is way more concentrated. Like that's the thing, though, is when you talk about sports, you're talking about a handful of extremely large organizations, and that's really it. You're talking about the NFL, the NBA, the NHL,
right?
Because it's not even really individual people because they change them up so much over the years. Like it's
you're just cheering for a color. For the most part. Now, sometimes,
exactly.
Now these days, in the world of, and we don't have to get too nerdy into sports because that's not what this is about, but these days, in the world of internet and stuff like that, people have become more where they literally just cheer. They do find players that they like. That used to not be as much of a thing. Now
and they follow them.
Yeah, and they will nowadays. But like I said, we don't have to get too much into that.
They've done way more turning those people into celebrities and stuff, too.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like now they're in movies. Now they're like...
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense. The best athletes in the world, probably.
I mean, the wrestler to movie pipeline is like a real.
It's a direct line. You really just.
Oh yeah, the biggest one. I mean, I know what happened before him. I know Hulk kind of did it and stuff, but when the Rock took that one to like. Now every wrestler is trying to be a wrestler, and then Hollywood is the next.
John Cena's been trying so hard, and he's right there. But
I was a Cena fan, and I fucking hate him and everything else.
Suicide Squad? Is that him in the Suicide Squad?
Is John Cena? Yeah, I think he is in that new Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
He was in.
He's fun. He was in that movie.
I was
something
cock blockers.
Bad parents.
Cock blockers.
Oh, cock blockers.
Which I will legitimately say is a really great,
good movie.
Really funny movie.
It is. It's good stuff.
I like that movie.
Parents trying to cock block.
I hate everything that Cena's done outside of the wrestling ring. Everything is done outside of the wrestling ring. I fucking hate him.
Oh man.
So let's get to these movies. Because man, we're already a half an hour in here. And so I guess I'll let you guys pick which first one you want to destroy.
Let's just go in the order that you sent them to us.
Okay, so the first movie I sent these guys is a video, a compilation video of Chicago Cub fans celebrating, right? That's the first one I sent?
Yes.
Yeah, the monkeys like freaking out.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all,
you fucking asshole.
That was a cheese commercial. First of all, that was a cheese commercial. It was put out by
Oh no, I know.
By some cheese company.
Okay, so here's the deal. I kind of know that. I wanted to pick a Cubs thing because in my way of selling sports, you have to go to if I'm going to sell it to people, or if I'm going to try to sell it to people who don't give a fuck, you have to go with the biggest possible stories in sports that have brought people together, because that's my whole angle, is that it brings people together. So the Cubs winning was a big one, and I had a few different choices of Cubs ones, and I still, despite what you said there, I still liked that one better because I thought the music did a better job at tugging at the heartstrings.
Yeah, no, that cheese company did. They had a nice production budget. That cheese company who made that YouTube video.
But those videos are all real people, and you can see those videos in other compilations. I just like that one.
We're very aware that they're very real people. They're just the worst.
Why is it the worst?
I've seen similar videos for like presidential elections and stuff like that, which at least, at the very least, it's like this ostensibly is affecting somebody's life. And I still think they're kind of losers. Like, right. And so to see somebody freaking out about a thing that is absolutely like, oh, the Cubs won. Like, what? How does that?
But you got to put it in set of like, again, if you take the debate, and I know you guys can't do this in your mind, and that's okay. But if you could pretend to take the debate in your mind that this is like a fake thing, right? And I understand you don't believe that, but just try to in your mind envision that. Okay. It's something where like a lot of these people and that's why I picked the Cubs, because it's been 108 years since they won the thing and whatever. And you have people who, whether this is a distraction by rich people or not, whether there's some of these negative aspects to it or not, people's lives are kind of what they are. A lot of people are just trying to get through the day. They work a job. Most people don't get to. We three particular are pretty lucky that we've gotten to do a lot of things we enjoy. Not everybody does. And so, like, there's people who just, their dad, and especially back in the day, and we're all also grown up in an age now where you have Twitch, you have video games on your phone, all this shit. But their dad grew up and they didn't have that. And the Cubs were all they had. And their dad worked at some shit factory and he hated his job. And it's like, so some of these things, it's more of a connection. Like a lot of that stuff, what gets to me is more like the father and son who's like, there's stories where a guy will go put a Cubs hat on his dad's grave and be like, they fucking did it, Dad. And it's like, you can't tell me that's not fake. It doesn't mean you have to like, but I do. It's something that's, anyway, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Your dad lived a whole life. He did millions of actions that affected people, that had real substance to them, that mattered. And this man dies, and his son is putting a fucking Cubs hat on his grave to represent him. There's nothing better.
Yeah, that's
no,
my
it's
thing
but
too.
it's not that represents him. It's not that that's what represents him, though. It's not that. It's not that.
Why does that matter so much to him? That
a lot of fathers and sons don't always have a necessary. Like, there's a lot, especially back then. Again, we grow up in an era. Not that our moms and dads are perfect, but we've grown up in an era where parents are much more. They're encouraged to show love. They're encouraged to like actually support their kids. When you talk about these guys, I think they grew up in a time
where sports was all they had.
The kids and their dad, they fucking didn't. There's Vietnam, or there was this, or there's that, and they just fucking hated each other. But for some reason, they would come together and be like,
I can say that there was a golden age where that might. I think that that energy could be directed in a different way. I think that you're right that no matter what, you can't replace that stuff because it's always going to exist in our world. But if it was directed towards something that was like more empathetic and didn't ruin people's lives, and like
it doesn't. I read about a thing.
A guy.
I don't believe that, but I don't believe that. I know we could get into the health stuff. I don't believe overall that it ruins. Again,
I think it does. I think that it ruins the sports people's lives. I think some people get in a fight because you were rooting for your team and then you go to jail, or like.
But you can't stop. Those people make their own choices as human beings. And I think the problem is, this goes to, like, when we talked about wrestling back in our first episode, I don't think there's a form of entertainment that can ever be perfect. And the problem is humans are always going to want entertainment. I just don't know how you're going to do it.
I am generally on board with you on that.
Yeah,
like, I agree with that. I would just say, like, there is something to me that is very, very sad about somebody. It is deeper than just the sport. The sports is a Band-Aid, but there's something very sad about somebody encapsulating their relationship with their father.
I get it, and I'm lucky that I don't have that.
Team. Yeah, on a sports team, rather than like the connection that a son has with his father.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree with that, but I just think but that is a thing. And so the problem is once you get the dad that him and that dad have that, it does tend to go on. And like with my dad, we talk about plenty of other stuff. Sports isn't, but sports is still just always an easy like start. Like if I come back, if I haven't seen him in a month or something, it's just an easy like, man, fucking Tigers. And then it does, you're right. Hopefully you do have a relationship with your family or people that goes deeper than that. But that's
what I'm saying. I hope when your dad eventually dies that when you think about him, it won't be thinking about the Pistons.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it won't for me. But I do think that exists for people, and I think I get what you're saying. You know what? I get what you guys are saying.
I think that's sad.
Well,
I think that is. Like I wish that guy had a deeper connection with this.
Well, well, by the way, Tyler, you should understand that I'm also using
Can we talk to him
and feel him?
But it's all right, son. Tyler, I should. You got to remember, I'm kind of on the ropes here because I'm 1 against 2 and a very hard 1 against 2. So you got to remember, by the way, I'm using some very extreme examples. There are much more mild examples.
Before we did this whole thing, me and Scott were like, man, I don't know if Eric entirely knows what he's getting himself into.
No, it's all right.
So this is the first time where it's like, our passion is fire.
Yeah, I understand.
Most of the time, fun.
But I would say this, but nothing in a sense, nothing's going to change out of this. It's just we're just doing a show and trying to have an interesting topic. And when you say your passion is fire, obviously you watched that video last night. That was not fake. That's how I would have reacted if the video was. So trust me, I mean, I have cried over sports teams, bawled my fucking eyes out over sports teams.
Into a team, I feel like
it's just, I don't know how to explain it.
Effort. I feel like that's a lot of your life.
But see, I don't
here, I will say to defend Eric a little bit.
Okay.
We both definitely cried about movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
Like, definitely, not where you're like weeping, but like, we're making
You're right.
tear up.
Eric, I can't. That's not fair. I don't think that's wrong. You're right. God damn it. Why are you trying to be a devil's advocate?
I certainly don't need the defense, but I'll take it. Because I don't care. Nothing's going to change. I'm not going to. And, I've cooled off.
And I don't think any less of you. I just always feel like that's too much effort put into something that I think fundamentally is bad for humanity. And
that's the problem. If you have that feeling, then there's obviously, you're never going to change your mind. And I don't have that feeling. And so I can even understand why you think that way. I just disagree. And unfortunately, that's not something I can pull stats up to me. That's just something that we'll just have a gut feeling amongst our own individual human beings. You know what I mean?
What I would say is, like, if you talk about that camaraderie and stuff too, it's like, okay, that exists despite this institution, sports institutions existing. Because you know what's not, it doesn't make you a fucking comrade, is charging $40 for a hat.
I know.
Yeah, it's trying to bleed them dry too. Like, look at your whole outfit. How much did you pay for that?
That whole outfit costs more than my wardrobe. My entire
I've actually, we don't have to get too much into this. I've recently become kind of a minimalist. I've stopped buying new things, but on the same hand, I wish I did. I would, because I have a whole thing of not wanting to buy more trash and add it to this, human footprint and shit. But on the same hand, you're right. This costs a lot of money, and I fucking and if Michigan had won the next 2 games and gone on the national, would have bought my first hat in a long time, which would have been probably $40 for a fucking hat, and I would have fucking loved it. Yeah. And so, and I don't buy fucking clothes.
That is so.
I don't buy fucking clothes.
For everything you got.
That is such an obvious cynical move where it's like, we got these losers on the hook. Let's ring them for all.
I know. I agree.
That is literally.
I don't disagree with that, but I do think, again, I would keep going back to humanity. I always say, like, there'd be something else. Like when you talk about X-Men, whether it's going to Disneyland, by the way, whether it's going to Las Vegas, whether it's going to music festivals, even if you have the best of intentions, even if you're going there, we're going to go to an environmental thing or something. I just think in the end, still though, and I know there could be better outlets. Like to Tyler's kind of point, there could be better outlets suggesting that sports is bad for humanity. So I understand that. But it's still the need to once you get into sports, if you take that aspect out of your head, it is no different than so many other little things in life that people like to glom onto.
I would say too, when it comes to, I'm not against. I think people doing sports is awesome. Like that's a part of
I get
humanity.
It for the health aspect, and it's good for your brain. And
or like having your kids in it. I think it's a good thing to
and
give
somebody
you those
developing
skills.
any skill in being the best.
Learn how to win and lose, learn how to be a team. Stuff like that.
Exactly. All those things are fundamentally great for people. I think that that's awesome. When it gets to the professional level, I think that it changes into this whole other thing that is trying to bleed all of its fans dry of all their income and and it's emotionally draining, like you've said, in a way that doesn't
affects my life
and gives you no outlet to do something productive with it. I feel like those are my issues.
Yeah.
But I also think that, like I said, sports can be a positive thing. I just don't want them to be the huge conglomerate that they
Well, I mean, I would say, by the way, I'm against. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say really quick, and then you can get to your point.
Yeah,
It just ties into Tyler's. Like, you were talking about that guy putting a Cubs hat on his dad's grave. You know, me and my stepdad bonded over watching Breaking Bad. I'm not putting a fucking Walter White hat on his grave.
To be fair, though, I think that we're all, again, I gotta say, we're all very lucky. When you've pursued passions out of life and stuff, you have a lot more. No, I'm just saying, though. I'm saying we're all genuinely more happy people.
Yeah,
I think there are people that aren't, unfortunately, look at me. I have goddamn, dude, I could go over your list. You want to hear us? Here's a fucking story from 2006 when the Tigers went to their World Series for the first time in my lifetime that I could remember, right?
Yeah.
I'm in Cedar Point I was there for Halloween weekends with a bunch of girls that didn't give a fuck. And I'm sitting here watching this Tigers game in a sports bar by myself. It was so packed that I'm just sitting on the floor, and they finally win. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but they win. I literally don't know where my friends are. It turns out they're at the farthest part of this amusement park. Yeah. And I ran the entire, probably 2 miles to the entire park by myself, yelling, "The Tigers are going to the World Series!" and so that's how nutty of a sports fan I am. But I would not. But I don't identify as a sports fan in the sense that it's my identity, and I would not put that Lions hat on my dad's grave, even though me and my dad shared Lions season tickets for 8 years and have cried over the Lions. But I wouldn't do it. So, Scott, I was just giving. You're right. The person that does that has a problem. I agree. I just think, though, that's my kind of saying of I do think it's still a positive, even if there's a bunch of negative around it. I still think that's a positive amongst that dad and son. Because what if they didn't have anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Or what if that Band-Aid didn't exist and they had to address the emotional?
But you know what, though? It would, though. There's always going to be a fucking Band-Aid. There's never going to be a life where we all have therapists individually solving every one of our problems. I would like that, by the way. I wish I could have the money for therapy, to be honest with you. But should we get
based on those videos you sent us, you need it.
Yeah.
God, I wish I would have done since I dumped that first one. I didn't think about that until last night. I wish if I had the foresight, because that one was only easy to film because it could have been a very obvious, this is going to be the moment where you're going to see me show some emotion. I wish I had taken a video Sunday when I was happy, because my week, how my week went was like Sunday, Michigan won, and I was fucking, they destroyed the team, and I was jumping up and down on my, just fucking thumbs up, drove home, had the window down, was just fucking yelling, "Go Blue!" and shit out the window. Yeah. So I wish I had taken some film of the contrary.
I've never done that for anything.
No.
See, I would say
another level of crazy.
I haven't.
Now, you know what's funny? I could turn it around in my mind and say I feel bad for you guys, because I think that it's such an emotion that is so fun. That's not explainable to me.
I think you're leaning into it. Even if I was into a sports team, I'd still be like, yeah, okay.
Oh no, your personality just wouldn't. It wouldn't fit. I get it. And I think that some people are just whatever.
So I think it's an Eric thing, not a fan thing. I don't think most fans drive around.
I do.
I mean, did you do that? Like, I don't believe any of us has done that. Like, when we've had sex with somebody we wanted to have sex with. I don't think any of us has done that. Did you do that when you got your fucking like dream intern job?
Yeah, right.
Like, what is the standard for
equivalent?
doing this thing?
No. Well, I'm also,
so wild.
on some level, I'm a terrible example because I'm also a very emotional person in general. So actually, yes, I have done those things at other aspects in my life. But I'll say this.
Have you had sex with somebody and then driven?
No, never with sex.
Clarify.
Never with sex.
That really was a good story.
I've never had sex and ran out running up and down and screaming. Yeah, I did it.
Did you do that when you got your internship at the radio show?
I mean, to be honest with you, to a certain extent, yes. I mean, I drove home calling everybody I knew, all my friends that. You know what?
But not yelling out the window.
Well, okay. So I'll say, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say no, but here's the reason why. If you want the real answer, sports. The times I've had these moments of pure joy, they're very definitive. Tigers won a game. They're going to World Series. The internship. Those are kind of moments that were trickling into what's been a long-term success. So it's not quite
it's like a one-time boom.
Yeah, they're like getting the internship didn't even mean that I'd ever make money in radio ever, or anything. So it wasn't
that if I had a kid.
No.
I don't think if I had a child.
I'd have a much different celebration if I found out I was having
a much more
a lot of crying, a lot of
Actually, there would be yelling, running and yelling, but it would just be a different.
Oh God, no!
You would 100% be the dude who puked during the delivery.
If I was even in the room.
You don't like a vagina on a good day.
Do you think?
Right? Fuck no. Yeah, I don't want to see it. I don't like them when they look like a flower. Let alone
that is its worst day.
God bless the doctors that do that. I guess they get paid a lot. I don't know.
So do we
get to this third video?
Get to the
let's get into these. I'm sorry. Let's get into these other ones real quick. Do you want to pick one of the two that you hated more?
No, there was the dying kid, and there was the one I hated the most.
Oh, was it the singing along?
The Sweet Caroline video. Yeah. I don't. That song sucks.
Also,
first of all,
I know.
Change that with like Nazi Germany, just fucking troops, just overlay those over each other.
Except
I get that.
Sweet Caroline's a lot lamer.
Yep.
That's
that was my trickiest one to send you guys. The reason I sent that, I suppose, is just more. It was more stupidly deep, where I talk about again, like. The idea that you're in this building and there's these vast array of, people that would not necessarily normally be together, and it brings them together. That one was, I knew you guys wouldn't like that one at all. Like I knew that would be terrible.
I would say people singing to get together, people dancing together. That's a beautiful thing. I am totally on board with that.
Didn't feel that way. That felt like there was someone prodding them with a little like cat prod to make sure everybody did.
There is definitely not.
And just once again, not to harp on it, but Sweet Caroline of all things.
Yeah,
they pick sports songs, but for sports stadiums have to pick songs that for whatever reason people all tend to know and like. Even though
I would have taken YMCA.
I was just gonna say YMCA is pretty good. All right.
I would have taken what's that R. Kelly song they always play?
Oh Jesus, they're not gonna do an R. Kelly song.
Yeah, not in 2000, not in 2001.
You want to know a funny?
I Believe I Can Fly. Yeah.
Oh, I believe I Can Fly for sure. They do.
You want to know a funny story? I can't think of the name of the song. But my brother used to. My brother went to state, and he's always been a sports fan too. And so he actually just as a student, kind of, so he could get to go to games for free and like sit better seats and stuff. He kind of volunteered, interned at the sports stadiums and stuff, and just whatever. And just when you mentioned the R. Kelly song, it made me think of this. And I don't remember what the song was, but there was, the young kids always try to slip in younger songs, right? Young people songs, and all student sections singing it and shit. And my brother was standing one time in the stadium, and they were playing one of these more racier songs that he didn't know what the real meaning of the song was.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he's singing it. Some guy's like, do you know what this song's about? He's like, no. He's like, and then he looked it up. And my brother said he watched this guy in real time just go like, oh my! And he walked over to somebody and goes, never play that song again.
Oh God!
What was the song?
Yeah, what was the song? Do you remember?
Dude, I don't remember. I'll text my brother.
I would love. I'm imagining like if it was like Get Low or something like that, and like
got-
sweat drop down my balls, and they're like,
Right.
This is sports talk.
It was like that. I can't remember what it was. I'm sorry. I didn't plan on telling this story, or I would have asked my brother.
What's
I'll
WAP
text my
stand
brother and
for?
find it.
We're all playing sports, right? Like,
What's up?
I said, what's WAP
What'd you say?
stand for? Like, we're all playing sports.
Yeah, exactly. I'll text my brother for you guys for your own personal benefit. I'll text him later and let you know because I just can't.
Yeah,
I
I'd
didn't
love
think it was
to know
going to
what
come up, so I had no idea. So let's get off that song because you guys hated it. Unless you want to make fun of it more, you can certainly make fun of it more if you want.
It was the worst.
Yeah. and
See, I love
shame
that
on
shit.
you for
And
sending
shame on
that to us.
shame on you for making me sit there for however long it
jeez.
was.
Well, I'm sure I'll have to deal with
it
some
wasn't even
shit
like
from one of
people
you.
good at singing. It was just like a crowd
That's
of
the
people
point, though.
like being forced to sing because the camera was on.
But they're not being
Well, we're
forced. They love
basically
it. Look
doing
at them.
a
Who was
Nazi
being forced in that
salute.
video?
Yeah,
Not
they were
one
doing
person.
Nazi
Let's
shit,
go,
so
Pitt. I don't even like Pitt. No one was being forced there. I promise you, they look forward to that every fucking game. No one was being forced to sing that song.
I feel like every time the camera came around, they're like, "Oh shit, we gotta
do it."
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous assessment. What did the
It's
dying
worse if
kid?
they
What did you
weren't
think about the?
embarrassed.
What's up?
I had a lot of problems with the dying kid. One, I feel like his
What's-
dad forced him to like something so he could go and hang out with the team.
That is a cynical take that I would normally take, by the way.
Yeah, I just feel like that's what that kid. His whole thing was like his dad's like,
well,
okay, so he's dying, and we need to deal with this. He gets a wish at the Wish Foundation. Let's make him like,
Yeah, you like doing like those parents of that kid that sued Michael Jackson, just like we're gonna milk this cancer to the highest extent.
By the way, everything you're saying is fucking hilarious. I would normally take those takes on it. The idea that some dad, what you have to,
Milk those tumors like the money cow it is.
What I have to say
he had like a liver issue, which is also why I thought that was crazy too. Side note, I feel like they really should have got into his whole like, is he a dwarf? Like, is he have dwarfism?
Well, it's because
like,
it had to do with because of his. I think that liver issue and stuff. I guess his body just he had some disease.
Like, his hands are like giant. And
I know. Well, stop.
He talks very.
What does that have to do with the? Now you're just making fun of a dying kid.
I just thought that was a weird side note that they really didn't get into. That.
Well, I mean, it's a 6-minute emotional ESPN piece.
Looks like he's like 4, but he's talking like a 13.
I'm not gonna lie, I missed it all. I was like, wow, this is like a very well-spoken, very clever, like 7-year-old.
He's 13. He's 13.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would say that for his age, he had a grasp of how to sell himself more than I do at 37.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, no, I thought he was insanely professional. Like the little jokes he was telling on that interview, it's like, damn, dude, like you are smarter than I was at that age.
And he's got the extra advantage of looking like he's like 7.
Yeah, so it's super young looking, and then it's super easy.
Yeah, I did. I liked the kid.
I did like the kid. I had issues with them not addressing the whole thing except for a little bit, but I did pay attention for that. I thought, like I said, I thought his dad totally took advantage of him. I think that the team really pimped that kid out. We can hear you, Eric. Maybe he's down.
Damn it.
Don't restart. Let's just stay on. We don't have anything
We
to
don't even
say.
have. There's nobody even watching right now.
Oh, okay.
So like, yeah.
It's cutting this out of the episode. Remember to cut right here, Tyler.
We're actually like a minute before here.
Yeah.
Ideally.
I mean, I'll know when.
Yeah.
Now that I listen to it, nobody's watching. This has been.
Yeah. We had pretty good numbers overall, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not
like,
bad
right now. Like, yeah.
Shouldn't be shitting on our podcast. I know we're live. We're just waiting for Eric to get back. He's having technical difficulties, and we're sorry.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to figure this out.
Yep.
Because it needs to stop happening every week. So he is getting a new modem. Just letting you guys know. Let's take a minute to tell you about purple mattresses. Not really. They don't pay us, so don't check them out.
Yep, texting him right now. one thing we're probably not going to have time to get into that I was going to say, like talking to Eric, we can keep it or leave it, is like just the idea too, like with all this sports stuff. Like I used to do this thing when I was a teenager where like, I don't know anything about sports at all. And like, I had a friend of mine who would like prompt me to do it when we were around people who liked sports. And I would just be like, oh yeah, like you're a big Pistons fan. Like, that's cool. Like, yeah, they haven't been playing their best this year, but they've been having like a pretty good year. And like, I could totally just rope people into these conversations. And I had no idea about
Did
sports.
you ever get caught?
No.
You never once got caught? No one slipped you up or asked a specific enough question?
I honestly no. Honestly,
That
anytime
seems
I did it,
that like nobody, like I feel like one person would be like, "You're lying to me."
no, because if anything else, you get people talking about that, and then they will take it, and then you just match them. You just follow that direction, like whatever they say, you agree with it like 80%, and then you throw in a little, but I have a slight variance in my opinion, and then they follow through with it.
I mean, that makes sense. I feel like you should have been caught way more than never.
Yeah.
If you're just bullshitting. Because you and I both, do not know really anything about sports. Like I said, I was in that what is it? The fantasy football league. And honestly, that didn't.
How did you do in that fantasy football?
I did pretty good. I got like fourth out of like 10 people.
Damn.
So like, and it was like me just like, I set it up and I left it there for like months. And like, I think I made like $50.
Wow.
Of it, and I put $5 in.
And that's just completely not knowing
I
anything.
think $5, something like. Yeah, I had no idea at all. I literally was just winging it every week. And like my roommate who was in charge would be like, Tyler, set up your fucking shit. And it's like, no. And then I'd win, and then he'd get irritated because he's like, "Why the fuck are you winning? I'm putting all this money and effort into this thing, and I'm not winning." He lost, and then the next year he won.
Yeah. So it's just straight gambling. There's no logic or reason to any of it.
To what do you mean logic to reason to any?
I mean, you got fourth place and you knew nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
If
you try playing poker and you don't know the rules.
But the first person got like a lot of money and knew what they were doing.
If you try playing poker and you don't know the rules, you ain't getting fourth place out of 10.
You might once.
I don't know.
You might once. I'm just saying, like, it definitely can happen. It's an odds game, but like, man, where the hell is Eric? Seriously.
He is restarting his modem, I'm assuming.
Where are you? I mean, it's not going to help. He'll do what he does. Yeah. You gotta be patient. Anything else going on in your week?
Certainly not sports
Eric
related.
Is back.
Here he is.
Yes.
We will do a lot of editing here.
Jesus.
Hey!
Yeah. You guys keep talking? Is that out that window? Or did you start?
Yeah.
Did you start and restart?
We just kept talking.
Okay.
We'll definitely edit some of it.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm literally, cool. I'm gonna get on the fucking shit this week. I'm gonna make this get better by next week. It has to be. Okay. We can kind of wrap it up here, I guess, just so we can. Did you guys just make fun of me for a few minutes while you were gone? Essentially, is that what happened?
No, honestly, we talked about Scott's story about how he used to bullshit his way through sports conversations, and hilarious. No one ever knew that he had no idea.
Yeah,
I respect that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, like literally, like I did. I had a friend who would.
I swear you've done that with Eric before.
I very well might have.
I would doubt I would talk to sports about Scott, though. I would not be dumb enough to talk
I think
sports.
It was one of the earliest times we ever hung out.
Maybe at the very beginning I didn't realize it, and I somehow brought up sports, I suppose.
Because I used to have like a good friend of mine that I've been friends with since I was in high school. He would be like to me, like it got to the point where he'd be like, Scott, this person's like, because he was kind of into sports himself.
Yeah.
Oh, this person's like into the fucking Lions. Go talk to him about the Lions or whatever.
Oh, okay. I thought where you're going with that is that somebody that he thought you liked, like you tricked a longtime friend, and he was still like, "Oh, did you hear who they signed?" And you're like, "Yeah, I can't believe it."
No, and like literally all you have to do is just let them take the lead, and then you follow them. Or they'll be like,
sure.
Yeah, the Lions are having a really bad year, and be like, Yeah, I don't. They've had a couple of games where they pulled through. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. It'd be easy as fuck to fake your way through sports because most sports people want to be the one talking.
Yep.
So if you just sit there and agree with them,
oh yeah, next
Agree
year,
with
man,
them.
next year.
Agree with them, but do a slight variance in your.
you know the thing is about as much as I love sports, if I in the first minute, if I can tell someone doesn't know what they're, and you'd be different, Scott, because you're almost trying to get me to talk, so you could probably trick me. But if somebody is talking and I can tell instantly they're not that smart, it's okay if they're not that smart, but they're not smart and they sound but they act like they are. They're like, oh, this, Rodriguez, he's been batting terribly late, and I know that he hasn't or something, you know what I mean, or whatever. It's very sports. There is almost nothing worse, I will say, as much as I love sports, there's nothing worse than a sports fan who doesn't know what he's talking about, but likes to talk and pretend and acts like he does. It's terrible.
Do those people know that they?
No, I don't think they do.
Think
I don't think they do. I don't think they're aware enough to know. And it like I said, to me, I don't mind if they disagree. I don't mind if someone is even wrong. If they're just like, oh, I think but it's like the people that are just like, nope, this is what's going on. I know it. And I'm like, dude, no, you don't. Like,
yeah.
And I won't even correct people.
Off, it's somebody else's interpretation of that actually.
I never correct anybody either. Once I realize that a person's just a loudmouth sports fan, I'm just like, you're right. And I do not. Like I said, if I run into someone at a bar, I've sat at a bar one time in Boston for a wedding, and it was like everyone else. One of the nights where people were going to bed early, and I sat in a bar and randomly ended up talking with these two other guys. So it ended up being three of us. And we talked for like 2 hours about sports, but it was like a back and forth, and we were, and that's awesome to me. But the blabbermouth, loudmouth that doesn't know really sports but wants to terrible. Yeah. I guess we'll kind of wrap this up. I'm sorry if we didn't get to all the stuff. I know we didn't solve anything as far as you guys are me, but
no convincing.
I do appreciate that your hat came off and your hair is a mess, and you're looking increasingly insane as the show goes.
Yeah, well,
you should just lean into that. Really, really lean into it for the rest.
I didn't even get into bother telling you guys about my face painting days and all that.
By the time we actually get to do the podcast with you in a room, we just can't stand it because you stink so bad.
Right. Just like gibbering and just in a straight
that
jacket.
Would just be a normal barely take showers as it is, but
fair enough.
Or I don't.
My final thought would be focus more on showers and less on fake sports.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't think they're fake, but I think they're lame. That's my final thought.
God, I couldn't disagree more. But it's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I knew I wasn't going to convince you. And in the end, by the way, I thought the discussion was
fun.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was.
Yeah.
I felt like I tried. I got what I got out of there, and it is what it is. And
no, I think you did a good job of trying.
Yeah. You did try. I acknowledge it. You tried.
Yeah, you tried. There's a lot of trying going around.
When will my participation trophy be coming in the mail?
Yeah, soon.
It's in the mail. I guess we're gonna. My final thought is sports can be fucking awesome if you want them to be, but they can also be fucking terrible.
You have to force them to be.
My final thought is a silent judgment following your final thought.
I wonder. I wonder what I would feel like if it wasn't so. You know what? Like everything, a lot of things in my life, I wonder what it would have been like if I had to at one point force myself. I just don't know. For other people, it must happen. I don't know how to explain it. Like my love of radio, I have two things in my life that I've really loved, and radio and sports are them, and they come from nowhere. Even though I said my dad likes sports, he has never liked them on my level. At 7 years old, I started painting my face to Lions games, and my dad tried to tell me not to do it. So it's like, it wasn't like my dad was sitting there going, you better like sports. Like,
no, he was telling you to calm down in that video. The dynamic hasn't changed.
I know. And I'm 37. So is Tyler, you're hosting next week, or Scott?
Yep.
Scott, did you decide in the end?
Yeah. We are going to be doing an episode on the conspiracy theory that George H.W. Bush was involved in the Kennedy assassination.
We don't have to get too much into it now. It's
you
weird.
Get a teaser?
Well, what I was going to say is it weird. I don't want to get too much into it, but let me ask you, according to the conspiracy, how involved do people think he was?
I mean, we'll get into this.
Are you talking about George Sr. or W?
Yeah, George Sr. George Sr.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, what was he?
And we'll definitely get into this next week, but I could make what I would say is a case entirely based on factual documented evidence that George H.W. Bush has been involved at the center of just about. It's funny, he's considered like the wimp president. He's kind of like forgettable. This dude was at the center of every fucking insane, awful thing that happened in the U.S. I mean, Iran-Contra, the Kennedy, even if you don't think he was involved, he definitely was surrounded. He definitely was. But also, he was definitely like in that orbit. I mean, Watergate,
interesting.
The Iraq War, like all of that shit. Like, I mean, he was the head of the CIA.
Do you know what George? Do you know about George Sr.'s favorite joke he likes to pull?
David Copperfield. Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll get into that too. This man, at like 90 years old in a fucking wheelchair, would be like rolling up to women and be like, who's my favorite magician? And they'd be like, who? And he'd be like, David Copperfield, and he'd grab their ass.
I sometimes it's hard to tell when you get to a certain age.
You needed just
it's such a weird thing because I'm the same man. I give him some props for being like 90 in a wheelchair and still wanting to grab ass. But
I don't know. Props is the right word.
What is up with presidents who want to grab people by the pussy?
Oh, I can't believe a person who would want to rise to such a powerful thing as U.S. president would have any level of non-self-control.
Yeah, you're not using it to try to fuck. Like, why
are you president?
That's all part of it.
We'll definitely
get into that.
Okay, well,
I'm excited.
It's weird. I'm not a conspiracy theorist overall, but my two biggest ones that I'm fully in for whatever reason, have always been the Kennedy assassination and UFOs. So I'm on board.
Yeah, for sure. And both of those are very. I mean, it's hard to not believe them.
I know. I picked two good ones.
Too much stuff about it.
Okay, I guess that's it. My name is Eric Fady. This was Two Hippies, One Drunk. Thank you for listening. Honestly, there's been a lot of people. Tyler always usually says this at the end because he's better at this. But there's been a lot of people seriously liking stuff. I've noticed that our posts go out to most people that are fans of ours. Or they're fans that are listen and follow this show on our Facebook and whatnot. So I would really, if any of you guys, I'd really appreciate if you could share some of these posts. That would mean a lot to us. But already the fact that people care and listen every week are awesome. Our numbers on our downloads are going up, which is really, really cool for a show that, it's just getting going and stuff. So,
and if there's anything we could ask to support us, it would be rate us 5 stars and comment on iTunes. That makes a huge difference too.
And interacting with us on here. We love doing it. We love interacting with you guys, talking to you guys. It's great. Thank you.
All right. That's it. We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.